The Islamic society is a society where Islam is dominant, where the majority of the ruling class and the subjects worship only Allah and associates nothing with Allah, while also upholding the outward symbols of Islam. On the other hand, a society of polytheism is a society where the rulers and the overwhelming majority worship entities other than Allah, associate partners with Allah, give sovereignty to beings other than Allah, and generally lack the outward laws of Islam, is called a society of disbelief. Of course, I won't delve into what the scholars of jurisprudence say, like what is Dar al-Kufr, what is Dar al-Islam, are all residents of Dar al-Islam Muslim, are all residents of Dar al-Kufr non-believers? Because when this becomes a jurisprudential debate, the essence of the matter is lost, the core of the issue is diminished, and unnecessary detailed discussions arise. The primary issue is to see where sovereignty and authority lie, to consider a society Islamic or non-Islamic. If in a country the lawmaker is Allah, if it is governed according to the book of Allah, that is an Islamic society, that is an Islamic state. But if in a country the right to legislate is not given to Allah, if people are not governed by Allah's constitution, that is not an Islamic society. And it is also not possible to call it an Islamic state. For instance, Mecca was a society of disbelief. This is our common acceptance, a common acceptance of those who attribute themselves to Islam. The Meccans used to perform pilgrimage. The Meccans used to pray. The Meccans used to feed the poor. The Meccans used to offer hospitality to the pilgrims. The Meccans would sacrifice animals to Allah. The Meccans used to drink alcohol, and one of the reasons or causes for drinking alcohol, more precisely, they believed when a person got drunk, they would spend their wealth more generously. So the Meccans consumed alcohol. The Meccans used to gamble. When they gambled, winners would gamble on camels, and the poor would gather around them. As the losers kept losing, the winners would give their earnings to the poor. This is how they gambled. And the Meccans also considered it shameful for someone to consume the wealth gained from gambling. However, despite all this, this was a society of disbelief. Why? Because firstly, sovereignty did not belong to Allah, but to the tribal chief. Secondly, they did not only worship Allah, they worshipped other beings besides Allah. Naturally, whichever society is in this situation, that society is a society of disbelief. In my opinion, one of the greatest losses when discussing this issue is not referring to the Qur'an. One of the fundamental tasks of the Qur'an is to introduce societies to people. Which society is a righteous society? Which society is a criminal society? Which society is a monotheistic society? And which society is a polytheistic society? From beginning to end, the Qur'an teaches Muslims about societies through their characteristics. When a person reads the Qur'an, let me briefly mention what comes to my mind right away. For example, there are verses in the style of إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا قَوْمًا. It says they were such and such a people. They were a criminal people. They were a wicked people. They were an ignorant people. They were a transgressing people. They were a people who did not know. They were a blind people. They were a people who crossed the limits. These characteristics are the traits of polytheistic societies that rebel against Allah and defy Him. If these traits can be applied to a situation or a society, then, just like with the polytheists of Mecca, even if there is pilgrimage, prayer or sacrifice, that society has lost the essence of religion because it has lost monotheism, and thus it is living in such a state. This society can be called a polytheistic society, and conversely, it can be said that the opposite is a society of righteousness.